So, New Jersey breeds probably the best entrepreneurs in my opinion.
Ooh.
We have a very special guest on today's episode, mompreneur, New Jersey's E&Y Entrepreneur of the Year finalist. Winner. Sorry, winner. Wow. See? Winner.
That's all right. Listen.
CEO,
Yep.
founder of the Little Words Project.
Yep.
Started with one employee, now up to 50 or probably even more.
Yep.
Started on D2C and now has retail storefronts nationwide. Adriana, Carrig,
Yep.
thank you for being here today. Let's get started with maybe for those who don't know you, a little bit of your background, a little bit about your brand, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Adriana Carrig. I'm the founder and CEO of Little Words Project, which is a jewelry company, lifestyle company, all about inspiring kindness and self-love in the world. We do that through primarily our inspirational word bracelets, which are all handmade and all have a different, unique, inspirational word on them. And the idea is you pick a word that means something to you, wear that word for as long as you need it, and then pass it on one day to someone who needs it more. There's this really unique traceability concept where each one has a little code on the back of the tag. That code is used to connect your bracelet on our website, and then once you've lived out the experience that the bracelet gives you, whether it's strength or love or just extra encouragement, the idea is to then give it away to someone who needs it more. And you can actually track where that bracelet goes with every new registration that comes along with it. So that's really kind of what led to the brand that we know and some most love today. It's all started with that concept of paying it forward and passing on kindness and love. And I started it, just as a young 23-year-old, right out of college. I was doing it in my parents' basement to start, as most,
as we all were.
As we all do, right? As all good businesses begin. And, it really took off. This year is actually our 10th year in business.
Wow.
Congrats.
Which is crazy. Thank you. And it's been that story of kindness and self-love and empowerment has been at the crux of the brand and really has been the thread that has woven through the past 10 years, right? No matter how much growth we've experienced or how much change we've experienced, that has been the thing that's remained true to the brand itself. So I'm really proud of where we've gone and how far we've come. And like you said, including going from just kind of a one-channel brand or company to really omni-channel over the past 10 years, including retail storefronts, wholesale, and pretty robust wholesale, and e-com, which has been continuing to grow year over year since starting. So that's my little spiel. Aside from that, I am a mom of two. As you mentioned, I am a true mompreneur. Most recently had my most recent baby. He was born a little immature, LOL. He was born premature. And so it's been a whirlwind. And I think that's been one of the hardest parts of being a business owner, is also having that familial thing happen. And, you kind of just have to navigate the difficulties of both things at once. And it's been hard, but we figure it out. Keep going.
I mean, that's the whole crux of the brand too, right? Is just inspiration and leaning into that, right?
Right.
So I think one of the first questions that the topic of mind, especially for even like a brand like Avi, right? Collagen, commodity, a lot of competitors, okay? For you, it's also, I would imagine, very similar, right? It's a great idea. The thought behind it is very empowering, but how do you sustain growth over 10 years for something that, to be honest, could be copied yesterday?
Yeah, and was.
And was, yeah.
And is, and continues to be. That's a great question. I think that for me, it's commitment to brand. It's commitment to the story we're selling, because it's not just a story. It's authentic, it's real, it's organic to what is needed in this world, frankly. That little bit more kindness, a little bit more consideration and compassion for one another is something that you just don't see at the forefront of many companies, right? This is what we, like the product itself is just a vehicle for that story, and always was. I mean, I literally made it look like this because it was something I could make. Like it was purely because of my own capacity and my own access to materials. Like I literally started it by going to Michael's and making the bracelets that people are saying, well, my kids could just make this. Why would I spend $25? And my answer is always, well, because then you're a part of our community. Like then you're a part of who we are and what we do and what we're trying to do to this world. And so, it happens and it sucks every time, because you're like, okay, well, I see that you're trying to just hop on a trend, which is what people are considering it to be, or some people can consider it to be. But ultimately, it's not a trend because I've proven it over 10 years. It's a decade of it being relevant.
Yeah. With the growth as well.
With the growth as well. Frankly, it wasn't a trend until we came along, so we were also kind of first to market.
Yeah.
And it's also really hard. I will say, we're talking a $25 price point, right? So you guys obviously know how difficult it is to, when it comes to sustaining a business and sustaining real growth with, an average order value of $50. Like that's very hard to achieve, and yet we're doing it tenfold, right? And so I think it's really like, most times I'm just like, all right, good luck, have fun, go figure out the E problem. There's never enough of the letter E with this product. Go figure out all these things that we've taken 10 years to navigate. Most of them die off. They don't last because it's not sustainable unless you've, kind of were first to market. And then the rest don't come with that storytelling that makes an actual material difference in whether or not the business is gonna grow and sustain real growth. So. The answer, as long-winded as that was, is really I focus on us. I stay focused. I keep my blinders on, and I'll see it. I'll be aware. But at the end of the day, I have a complete, wholehearted belief in what we're doing, and that this is merely a vehicle to that ends. And it's worked so far. So just continuing to do more of that.
Absolutely. So let's take it back a little bit.
Yeah.
You're 23 years old. What makes you say, okay, I'm going to start this business?
I had grown up myself dealing with a lot of negativity from others. I was bullied from a very young age, and it kind of continued for me into college, where it was more of a competitive kind of cruelty. At the time, it was really amongst primarily females. It was girl on girl, just negative bullshit that exists. And I know you guys can't really relate to that, but I'm sure if you have sisters or wives or whomever, what that negativity I'm talking about can be.
We're on Instagram.
There you go. You see it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness Instagram did not exist. When I was a child, I think about that all the time. I feel for
I
these
know.
young women.
What would have happened?
It's happening.
Yeah,
Look around
it's
at the way, cruelty and this bullying culture has just taken over. It's insane. And I'd like to say that, we're curbing it in some capacity, and maybe we are, but what we're really trying to do is inspire self-love more than anything, self-empowerment, providing these young women or people in general. We really are not just female focused anymore, but providing them with that armor, right? And that confidence to look down, see hope on my wrist, look down, see strength on my wrist, and get myself through a difficult moment. I'm not appealing to the bullies so much as I am to the bullied, right? Those who need that empowerment and that encouragement. And we think in that process, we're going to see actual change. But, when it comes to why I started it, it was really because of that. Like I had wanted to create something that was going to bring some more kindness to the world, bring some more positivity, and just kind of like infringe on the territory of cruelty a little bit.
Right.
So that's what led to me wanting to start it. But then aside from that, I was at the time in a sorority in college. I went to the College of New Jersey, speaking of Jersey, very Jersey-based person. And I was a member of Delta Zeta sorority, where I personally was the VP of membership, and I had to come up with a way to keep the love circulating. And when you're talking about like a group of 60 women, it's kind of... It's a challenge, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I had been making these bracelets for myself, and I thought, why not pass them out? I'll tell the girls to pass them amongst themselves. And that's really where the whole concept of the Pay It Forward came out. I saw it work in this group of people, and I thought, wow, this is like a true microcosm, if you will, of what it could be. So why not bring this kind of kindness and self-love and empowerment and just pay it forward energy to the masses? And it's worked as a result,
No, it's great. When you were starting the business, though, I know we kind of dealt with it. And when you start a business and before you meet any type of success, there's a lot of haters, right? So were there people that were telling you, why are you doing this? This is never going to work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I had that all the way through to like yesterday. I feel like we deal with haters left and right. Yeah. And, it comes in different forms, right? There's the people who are outright haters about it. And they'll say to you, are you sure you want them to look like that? You don't want it to be like a gold-plated bar or like something that's a little, and I those were friends even that questioned whether or not it would work. And I was like, trust me, like this is coming back. This is going to be a thing. And here we are 10 years later.
Yeah.
And then, on the flip side, there's people who like are wolves in sheep's clothing, right? Like they make you feel like you're kind of in the cool crowd, right? Where you're a part of the grander story of businesses that matter, right? But then they won't partner with you because they're like, maybe it's not that cool, or we don't know yet, they haven't proven it out, or we have to see them be, work with XYZ before we're even willing to work with them. And they've got the wrong one is kind of how I look at that, because I've experienced my fair share of feeling like left out, that I just don't care anymore. And I think that I've developed this kind of like potentially delusional, but whatever. It's just this sense of self of, I just believe in this brand. I believe in what we're doing. I believe in my product. I believe in the people that we have working on it. And I just don't give a shit if you don't like us or think that we're cool, because there's a customer who walks around with this product on their wrist and considers it to be the number one most important piece of jewelry in their jewelry box or on their wrist, because they never take it off. And that's enough for me.
When you like think about scale, right? When you saw that, okay, this idea is kind of like, it's working, I want to actually make this into something that's sustainable, right? A lot of founders today, I feel like when somebody mentions the word community, they don't actually know what that means, right? It could mean like, okay, starting up a Facebook group, right? Or a Discord or a Slack channel, whatever it is. Yes, that is a type of community, but actually building a community means, I mean, I know what it means for us at Avi, right? It's the same thing that you just said, right? You could get a collagen from anywhere. You can go to Vital, you can do whatever, buy the $15 one off Amazon, right? But what you buy into with Avi is you're buying into a community where you have people that actually care about the success that you have with the product, right? So now bringing that over to you, at what point in the journey did you say, okay, I need to start cultivating a community, and where did you do that?
Well, there was not a point in the journey, because it was the journey. The whole journey was the community. This was, like I said, just a vehicle to get the community. But from a very, very early stage, and this is everything, right? Like 2013, Instagram had just started, right? So if you think about where people lived in communities, was really Facebook at the time. Right. If we were talking about social media communities. So I was very focused on like the IRL experience of it all. Like I really wanted to create true, real, meaningful relationships amongst women at the time that would just foster kindness and community and love, and that's really what it was from the very start. And that is why we're still here 10 years later, because it's that foundation that we built of these people who just, when I tell you that there are women out there that have hundreds and hundreds of bracelets, and they're constantly rotating them, they're constantly sharing them, they're constantly registering them, they're wearing them up their wrist. I mean, Ali Love, the Peloton instructor, she goes on the Today Show every morning and has a stack up to here, more than I wear.
I saw her this morning when I was on the Peloton.
Did you see them? Okay, look at her wrist. You probably didn't even realize.
Was she wearing
Oh
them?
my God, what's she wearing? She doesn't take them off.
All right, I'll pay closer attention.
It's like the most incredible thing I've ever seen, and she's Ali Love, but it's because the product is so special and good, and the meaning is so important, and the community is real. And so the answer is, there was never a point where I was like, oh, I have to start focusing on community. It was always the point of the brand.
I think for a lot of brands, the building around that, right? It's because you want to, right? I think for a lot of brands, it's like almost, well, we have to, right?
It's more performative.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, I think people think of it as like, okay, well, we prop up our brand or revenue with, paid marketing, right? Meta ads, whatever, TikTok. And then it's like, oh, well, I need to have some sort of organic traffic. So let's prop that up with influencer marketing or this and that, right? I think people forget that when you try to prop something up, it's not authentic. And you don't have that genuine want to be part of this brand. And that's where I think brands almost fail, because you start becoming over reliant on these marketing channels that are going to increase in cost no matter what, right? And you do need to build something like, even you, right? You are the face of the brand, which I think makes life 10 times easier, because then you can talk about the daily, whether it's the successes, the struggles, product development, the reasoning behind the brand entirely. That I think is key to like sustainability. I mean, like you said, 10 years, right? So you're building a story, or people are following along for the longest time. And I mean, it's commendable where you don't even really need to rely on paid. You have that word of mouth, you have that community, you have organic traffic.
No, it's that's been a blessing for sure, especially as the world has shifted into this like just this e-commerce universe, and there's a new e-commerce brand like shit out every other day. Not to use that term, but I'm a Jersey girl, as we established. But yeah, you see that, and what I will say and what I feel like we've remained so true to is the organic growth of the brand. And I think there's also something to be said about the slow growth, right? And I think one of your questions that I know is coming down the pipe is, what do you think is true that most people think is false? And my answer was going to be, and is now, slow growth is actually the way to do it, because it is true organic marketing. It's true word of mouth growth. And that is, if we still do in any post-purchase survey, anything that we do, we still have found that our number one marketing channel, outside of course, paid, because now we're putting a lot more money into that, and it just, by the nature of the beast, is going to be where most people hear about us now. But very close second, if not neck and neck, is still word of mouth.
That's incredible.
So everything that we do is, how do we surprise and delight the customer? How do we make the customer feel like she's a part of something actually real, and makes her want to come back to us for every gift, for every holiday, for every just because, right? And that's what we found. We have a big gift customer, so we do have the seasonality that a lot of consumer brands have to contend with, but we are combating that regularly with just a constant touch points with the customer. And like, the retail journey that we've taken now has added to that, right? Storytelling. We're able to have people come in real life and experience this brand in a real way through our beading. And there's so many things that we're trying to do that it just feels like we're just leaning into what we established early on, which is that you're here because we know that there's a hole in this world of true community, and in the past it was true sisterhood, but now it's like I said, it's anybody is welcome. And honestly, most of our men's styles lately have been some of my favorites.
Yeah.
So we're really expanding into kind of welcoming everybody, and it's working. So yeah.
You briefly touched on expanding into retail, but for those who don't know, you guys are actually opening up storefronts
Yes.
for the brand.
Yes.
Primarily was on D2C, and then started up a storefront, I believe, in New York.
Yeah.
Right?
So we've actually been D2C and B2B since pretty much the very beginning. I've been doing, the wholesale trade show circuit for, I want to say, as early as 2015, so about 2 years into the business. And I should also say those first 2 years were like basement years, so very different energy than what it is now. Our biggest growth has happened over the past 2.5, 3 years. And so a large part of that slow burn journey, I think the reason I say it's such a good way to grow is because you learn so much and nobody's really aware of you yet. You can make these mistakes under the radar, and then it's not as big of a spotlight as it would be now if we screwed up something major, because people know who we are now. But then it was kind of like, all right, we're figuring it out. Nobody noticed. It's fine. We'll keep going. We could change prices, change logo, change everything, and just work and iterate with the community that we've built thus far. When it comes to the retail story, the wholesale and so B2B and D2C have been really, really strong for us online. Once we added the D2C retail channel, it's really just been like a rocket ship, because what we're finding is that it's like the great equalizer, right? Like, we're coming into the sphere of other D2C brands that have retail stores, and it's really kind of legitimizing us in a really new and unique way, to the point where people are like, wait a minute, they have a whole store on this bracelet? Like, the amount of people that I'm sure are kind of mind blown by that.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
I know, yeah. I'm sure you guys are. And I think it's a good thing, right? Because I've been able to kind of skirt underneath everyone's radar. No one's taking me seriously. No one's taking me seriously until, bam, I'm on the same street as Sephora, killing it. Or Lululemon, killing it, and being asked to be a part of these major centers because we're bringing in the foot traffic. People want to come and sit at one of our tables and bead a bracelet. So just to kind of rewind a little bit, we've 8 full-time retail stores right now, all across the nation. Yes, we've got one. We've got 2 in Manhattan, Bleecker Street being our first and one of our best. We've got all the way across the country in San Francisco. We've got Georgetown, DC. We've got Boston. We've got our Jersey store at the Jersey Shore, in Long Branch, Miami, Tampa, and then we've got line of sight to 15 by the end of next year.
Wow.
10 by the end of this. So we've got 2 more stores opening up in 2023. Wow. Yeah, and so that growth is largely due to the fact that, you know, despite not having the highest AOV and both in store and online, and despite us having a price point that is, you know, like I said, a $25 retail price point for the primary product, we're still seeing customers show up and they're stacking the bracelets and they're excited about the story. We sell other things. They're not just bracelets. We sell other brands that are all about, that are all female founded. And
amazing.
they're kind of like our third party stuff that's really become essentially
That's smart.
not a test kitchen, because I'm not by any means trying to like take from what other people are doing, but we are able to see what our customer wants and what else is she buying and how else is she shopping. We're learning a lot more about her, both new and returning, although I will say 90% of our customers in retail stores are new.
Yeah.
But the most important key takeaway and the key piece of our retail journey and why it's as successful as it's been is the experiential piece. And that is, we have people coming in, they're sitting down at a table just like this, and they're making their own bracelets. And it's kind of borrowing from the, you know, the candle pouring companies or like the sip and paints and all those experiential things that for whatever reason they last and people want to go to them. I know the reason, because it's something to do and something to do in real life. But it's also just kind of really driving home that community sense, because you're sitting down with me, I'm beating my bracelet, you're beating yours, and we're talking about what it is that you just went through in your life, and we became friends now. And this product, this vehicle, as I keep calling it, actually achieved its purpose, which was to bring people together and to drive community. So for that reason, the stores work. It's not just a $25 word bracelet. It's a real experience.
It's a community.
It's a community.